Hello and welcome. My name is Justin. Thank you for joining me in another video in my Learn to Play D&D video series. In this video, we're going to be going over traits, class traits, and what exactly are they, and how do they pertain to the class that you've chosen. We're going to continue working on the character that we began last episode, you'll notice whenever you are building your character in D&D Beyond that the word trait will come up a lot. It's pretty self-explanatory, but traits are different abilities, different aspects, things like that are added to your character based on the class you choose, the background you choose, and so on and so forth. And you gain more traits as you begin to level up, and eventually you gain them through your subclass as well, which we will get into in another video. Now, I've chosen Fighter for my for the class of this character, and we're going to be naming them real quick. And the name that I would like to give them is Orim. I don't know why, but it was just a name that was speaking to me. And we're going to go over the 4 fighter traits that you will get. Now, each class is going to have its own set of traits, but it's going to be basically the same idea, especially at level 1. It'll definitely change and get a little more intricate as you level up in your different classes. And if you start multi-classing, it'll be even more complicated, but that's definitely not something that I'll be getting into in this specific video series. If you would like me to get to discuss that, let me know in the comments. Maybe leave a like on this video. And so let's get into it. The different traits of a character are, we'll start with your primary abilities, which are the ability scores that you will be using most with this class. You have 6 ability scores: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Now, each class is going to use, I believe, a combination of 2 of these as their base, their primary used abilities. And in this case, for the fighter, it's strength and dexterity. Now, next is your hit point die. This determines how many hit points that you have per the class that you've chosen. The hit points are determined by your class, and there might be some other traits and features and things like that of maybe races or backgrounds that help modify this, but typically not. Now, for a fighter, it's a D10, which, if you don't know die notations, essentially the D means the die, and the number following the D determines the sided die that you'll choose from. So in this case, it is a 10-sided die. So you probably can't see it very well, but this die is separated by 10 sides, and this one specifically is the hundreds, so each one's a tens slot from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, etc. I just dropped my regular one, but normally a D10 will just be 0 through 9, 0 meaning 10. Yeah. So in this case, the fighter has a D10 per level. Every time you level up, you gain 1 hit die worth of HP. And the amount of that HP that is chosen is typically the average. So in this case, I believe it's like 7 or 8. But sometimes a DM will determine that they just want to go with max HP, or you could manually roll it. So every time you gain a level, you'll roll your hit die to see how much your maximum HP increases. Next, you gain proficiencies in different saving throws depending on the class that you choose. Saving throws being a roll that you'll make to save yourself from an incoming effect, such as maybe a spell, or if you're trying to, I don't know, jump over a table, maybe you'll make some type of, maybe you're falling, that's what it would be. And you have to make a strength or a dexterity saving throw in order to maybe just land stalwart or maybe roll through the landing. In this case, the saving throws are in strength and constitution, as you can see here. That means that I would add my proficiency bonus, which I'll describe later, to my strength or constitution saving throw rolls, increasing the roll more. Next, you get to choose 2 skill proficiencies from the list given. In this case, I get to choose between acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, history, insight, intimidation, persuasion, perception, and survival. Different classes will have a different list of these to choose from, and you get to choose 2, I believe, in each class. Next, you gain your weapon proficiencies. Most classes don't have both simple and martial weapons because that encompasses just about every weapon in the game. But fighter does, because fighters are awesome at what they do: fight. This basically allows you to use pretty much every single weapon in the game. And it's the same thing for armor in this case. It's called armor training, but it's also known as armor proficiencies, where you can wear light, medium, and heavy armor and use shields with this class, all without taking any negative effects. If you don't have proficiency in an armor or using shields, then most of the time you'll take a hit to like stealth or something like that. Then you get to choose between a list of starting equipment. Now, there's actually 2 of these lists that you'll choose from as you go through making your character. One will be based on your class. The other one is your background, which we'll get into in the next video. So for this video, I'm going to continue. We're going to choose my skill proficiencies that I get from my fighter traits. Now, I get to choose acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, history, insight, intimidation, persuasion, or perception. Or survival, yes. In this case, I think I want a character that's very perceptive, can keep a pretty close eye out on the world around them and the things that are going on. But I also want a character that has a high level of athletics. Since I'm choosing a fighter class, I want to make sure that my fighting abilities are as strong as they can be. The next trait that you get in fighter at first level is called your fighting style, which essentially you get to decide how your fighter fights. Through archery, do you want blind sight through blind fighting? Do you want more defensive capabilities? Great weapon fighting means that you can use a large weapon, and you can treat a 1 or a 2 on a damage die as a 3. Let's see. You have interception, which is an interesting one. When a creature you can see hits another creature within 5 feet of you with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to reduce the damage that they deal by 1d10, plus your proficiency bonus, which is pretty cool. Thrown weapon fighting, you mainly use throwing weapons rather than using like a sword and shield or a large weapon. 2-weapon fighting, you wield 2, let's say, short swords, or you're wielding 2 daggers or hammers or whatever. And then unarmed fighting, pretty self-explanatory. You're fighting with your fists. I think in this case, I'm planning on just making this character a traditional sword and shield fighter. So I think I'm going to go with defense. So this actually increases my armor class by 1 if I'm wearing light, medium, or heavy armor. And in the case of the fighter, I can wear any of that. So no matter what armor I'm wearing, I will increase my AC by another +1, which in this game, armor class is what determines how easy you are to hit. When somebody rolls to determine whether or not they hit you, it's based against your armor class. So the higher that armor class is, the more difficult it is for you to be hit. The next thing that the fighter gets is something called Second Wind. It's essentially a self-healing ability that you can use pretty much in the middle of combat as a bonus action, which is just a lower level of action that you can take on your turn during combat. And in this case, the fighter can take a bonus action to regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus their fighter level. So in this case, I would max out at an extra 11 HP that I could gain, which in some cases would actually bring me all the way back up to max HP, just as a bonus action in the middle of combat. Makes them a little less squishy and gives them a little bit more long standing on the battlefield. And finally, you get weapon mastery. I believe that most of the martial classes, most of the weapon classes in D&D 2024 gain this ability now, where you get to choose 3 weapons, and you can use the mastery abilities of those weapons, which are essentially just extended traits given to those weapons, that when you have the ability to use that trait can add a different effect, such as the nick property with daggers, which allows you to attack with a second dagger in the same action if you choose to do so. So in this case, like I said, I'm planning on using just a simple sword and shield fighter. So in this case, I would probably do well with, we're gonna go with, let's say, dagger. Oh, wait, here we go. Yeah, no, we're gonna go with the longsword, which has the sap ability. So if you hit a creature with a longsword, that creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. I'm going to be wielding, maybe I'll have a short bow, just as backup, which has Vex. So if I hit a creature with a short bow and deal damage to the creature, I have advantage on my next attack roll against that creature before the end of my next turn. Finally, let's see. I think I will go with, I like the idea of being able to use a glaive later on, just because I really like glaives, which comes with the ability Graze. If your attack roll with a glaive misses a creature, you can deal damage to that creature equal to the ability modifier you used to make the attack. So whenever you hit a creature, you have a modifier to it based on, say, in the case of a glaive, would be your strength modifier. So in this case, I would basically add an extra plus damage equal to my strength modifier. This damage is the same type as dealt by the glaive, and the damage can be increased only by increasing the ability modifier. So essentially, it allows me to do extra damage with a glaive if I hit with it. So hopefully this video gives you a little bit more of an understanding of what traits are and how they affect your character. Your traits will come as you level up. You'll gain more traits, and once you choose your subclass, you gain even more. So you'll want to have a pretty good understanding of how these work and how they affect your character. And it'll affect your character in different ways depending on the class that you chose. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you want to, please subscribe and join me in moving farther in creating our new character, Orym. And I'll see you in the next video. I hope you have a wonderful day.